Aloha and welcome to this quick screencast where I want to show you around JSFiddle.net. JSFiddle is the environment we're going to be using to learn JavaScript at the beginning of the class. We'll move on from it after a few weeks. Once we learn development environments, we'll move on to IntelliJ IDEA, but I wanted to use this at the beginning because it's pretty easy to get started and get going writing code versus worrying about the development environment, which takes a little bit more setup. So when you go to JSFiddle.net, you'll look at this. And also what you may want to do is actually bring up JSFiddle in another tab and kind of pause this screencast as you go through it, and then go into your JSFiddle and kind of do things, because there'll be a little bit of configuration and you may want to try playing with it as you watch this screencast. It might help you get familiar with it quicker. So this is what it looks like when you go to JSFiddle.net and you get this ugly boilerplate stupid thing at the top, which we'll take care of in a second. So you can go to sign in by clicking here, and you may have to sign up if you haven't signed up already. I've already signed up, so I'll log in to my account, and when I log in, it looks like this, and I recommend, at least to start, you may want to make yours look like this as well. So you go to the settings tab, and what I suggest to begin is that you set your tabs to rows. You definitely want to click this button to have console in the editor. This stuff I leave alone, and this stuff I don't really do anything with, but I definitely click this show boilerplates bar less often, because you really don't need to see the boilerplates bar at all. I wish there was a button to just say don't show boilerplates bar, but at least we can reduce it. All right, so having set it up this way, what you'll see is you get a little console down here, which is actually quite nice. And we can now click on the JavaScript tab. We won't be using the HTML tab. I'm going to show you a little hack for the CSS tab in a second, but mainly you're going to be spending 90% of your time in this JavaScript tab. And so what you can see here, this is actually a pull-down menu that enables you to select the language we'll be using. We'll be using Java, just plain old JavaScript 1.6 for this class. That'll be fine. And then there's this other one that allows you to automatically add certain libraries into your JavaScript environment. And for the first couple of weeks, we're just going to have no library. But I just want to make you aware of the fact that this existed, even though you won't be using it at the very beginning. So what we'll normally be doing is writing JavaScript functions and then using console.log to print out the values of them. So for example, here is I just typed a statement, and it I guess auto ran it, and you can see in my console that I get the output. So in the console I have two, because I did a console.log statement. I can also use the run bar, and you'll see, to explicitly invoke the code. And what I want you to notice is that it is bound to a keyboard shortcut. So Command Enter or even Control Enter, I guess, on Windows is what you can do to get it to run. So I can keep running this by hitting Command Return. Okay. Now the one thing you'll notice here is you get this ugly white area of the screen, because that's the output window, and that would be what would be displayed in a browser if we had kind of invoked this code and run this. And obviously we have nothing, we have no HTML, we have nothing, so that we just get this white page. I find that rather ugly and distracting, to be frank. And so I'm just for fun, I'm going to show you a little hack that you can use to get rid of it. What we'd like is the output window to be just exactly the same color as the rest of the screen. And we can figure out what that is by bringing up the Chrome DevTools window and then clicking on elements, and then looking at the body tag. And what we can see here is we can see the background color is this this value, this hex value. So I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to go to the CSS window, and I'm going to say body background color, and then I'm going to type this. Okay, and what this is saying is that when we run this code, we want to set the background color of the body element of our window to be the same color as the rest of this page. And so now, it looks better. You don't have to do that for your own development unless you just find it kind of obnoxious to have that, that white pane staring at you. I find it obnoxious. So let's say, we've written some code. Maybe we should actually write a function. So we could say, function add to and value, and we'll return value plus 2. So here's a little function that that adds 2 to the value, and if we get rid of that console.log, and then we type console.log add to 10 and run it, let's see what we get. We can clear the console. That's kind of a nice thing to do every once in a while. So we can run it, and we can see that the output of that function is 12, okay, which makes sense. So having written your JavaScript code, the next question is, well, how do I share that with people? And so the thing you want to do is you want to press save, and what that does is that makes this link a link that you can share with others. So for example, I can type propeller C and open up a new incognito window, and then do propeller V. Okay, and notice I'm not signed in, but yet I can see the function. And because this is kind of a random string of characters, it's essentially a private link, and that you can't go to JSFiddle.net and find all the fiddles associated with a person. You have to have the link to do it. So that protects your code from other people inspecting it. There's some other things you can do. So for example, I'm on kind of the 4th version of this. I could set as base, which means that without any suffix on it, it would just go to this page. If I call this add to value to do 4, and then press save, you can see now this is version number 5 of it. And if I set it as base now, without the 5, it will still go to that. So when you turn in your URLs, it doesn't really matter. You can set it as base if you want to or not. But it's really important that you press the save button before you send the URL, so the TA or myself can actually see it. Okay, there's some other things that we'll get to as we go through the semester with using JSFiddle, but that should be enough to get you started. Have fun.